Hi and welcome. My name is Tita and I'm a knitter, knitwear designer and the owner of the yarn shop Yarn for All LLC on Etsy.com. And this is Yarn Talk, my weekly knitting podcast where I like to share my thoughts about how to make your knits a little bit more modern, cool, and interesting. So I talk a lot about yarn colors, shapes, textures, designs, and so on. I also like to share my test knit calls via my YouTube channel, and I of course show you my works in progress and acquisitions. And every of my episodes have a specific topic. And today I will talk about summer and spring yarns and designs and how to pick appropriate yarns for garments for the summer and spring. But before we do that, I would like to say what I'm wearing. Today I'm wearing the Nolana sweater designed by Fielder. This is a cropped turtleneck top that is originally designed for the yarn Feel Cozy, which is a really cool yarn, but I used the Feel Romance yarn because I wanted to have a winter sweater, and the Feel Cozy is somewhat lighter yarn, and I wanted something super warm, so I swapped out the yarn for the Feel Romance yarn in a gazelle color that gave me a really warm top. So you can of course use the Feel Cozy. It is coming in a really cool colors as well as the romance yarn. But as I said, this just gave me a warmer garment, which is what I wanted for the winter. And it's still cold outside. So as I said, today we're actually gonna talk a lot about summer yarns and the way you should choose them, or if you have a little bit warmer yarn, how can you still use it to make a summer garment by making some modifications to the knitting needles, for example, just as sizing up a knitting needle that gives you a little bit lighter garment. For example, you could use a warmer yarn if the garment you use to make with it is not too much copying your body. So if you want to use a warmer yarn, best is if you make a garment that has a inch or two positive ease, because then it doesn't cover and copy your body, so the wind can actually blow through it. If you have too much positive ease, that actually means a larger garment that is heavier and warmer. However, we will talk a little bit more details as I'm going into the yarns that I picked for my summer and spring designs and why, and how I sort of modified the warmer ones to actually fit a more summer spring design. I'm gonna go through these yarns in no specific order. And it's not in an order of I like it the most, or not in an order of the design is ready or not. It's just literally random order that I put it into this little holder. And for each yarn I will sort of say what I designed with it, and I show you the swatch I made, and I show you why I decided to make a specific top with it and how the top gonna look like. So let's start with this. This is Creme Casole wool baby silk lace, a solid yarn in the pink colorway that is currently out of my shop, but you may find it elsewhere. And I picked this pinkish purple yarn because it is actually beautiful. I talk about this yarn and color a lot in my previous episode, maybe 2 episodes ago, when I talk about trends for the upcoming spring and summer. This is actually technically one of the colors that is predicted to be trending. I didn't pick it for that reason. I just really love the way pink and purple is mixed in this yarn. And this is the swatch I actually originally made for it. It is using a 4mm knitting needle and holding the yarn double. This is a 70% alpaca, 30% silk yarn. It's a lace yarn, that's why I hold the yarn double on a 4mm knitting needle, and it gives me a very nice drapey fabric that isn't a see-through, and that is what I wanted. So I decided that the swatch is perfect, so I'm gonna use a 4mm knitting needle. And you actually have seen part of the designs for this. I already showed you the sleeves before, and I was really hoping to show you the entire hoodie. It's a long sleeve hoodie that I created with this yarn. However, as I predicted in my previous episode, I actually ran out of the yarn. The company was nice enough to send me yarn quickly, but it was held up at customs at FedEx, so it didn't arrive on time. And the hoodie is actually soaking wet, being blocked right now, and it was in no shape and form to actually show it. But what I would like to mention about the yarn is that after I blocked my swatch, the yarn became and the garment became super soft. So I really like that. I wanted something soft and light, and this was definitely soft and light for the summer. And although it might be interesting to wear alpaca in the summer, alpaca tends to be really warm. But I want to say that this is an alpaca and silk combination that makes the yarn a little bit, since it's only 70% alpaca, 30% silk, so it is not as like, not 100% alpaca, so it's not as warm. Also, it is a lace yarn, and lace yarns are obviously a little bit easier to wear a lace alpaca in the summer than a regular, let's say, DK weight or even thicker alpaca that gives you a thicker and warmer garment. So this silk and lace, silk and alpaca combination in a lace form gave me a sort of warmer piece, as I mentioned before, super soft, extremely drapey. So I went to design a long sleeve hoodie with it that I particularly wanted for the warmer spring days when you still want to wear a long sleeve, but you may not want to wear something under other than what you must. So you don't have to wear a camisole underneath of this. It's not see-through. And also, as I said, this is really good for the touch. So you don't necessarily have to wear something under. However, you actually can. The sleeves and everything is designed with enough ease to wear something under, short sleeve or a thin long sleeve, if you really want to do that. Because you can also just wear that as a layering piece and throw it on when the weather gets really cold. But it is designed to wear either that way or wear it on its own. So you can wear it when it's super cold, or when it gets really cold, or when it's medium cold, then you don't need anything under. So you can wear it with something under, nothing other than what you must under, and it will be perfect for cooler summer days or colder spring days when you want to wear even a long sleeve underneath. I decided to hold off showing you the whole thing since it's soaking wet. When I picked it up, it was like in no shape and form to show it. So I will show you it next week when I will actually have my test knit calls for this piece, and also my first design launch as well. So next week gonna be super interesting in terms of design week. So you'll see this piece in its full next week. So this is actually my first spring summer garment that is ready, and the pattern you will see next week is also my Veronica sweater that is ready to be sort of sold. I am just really making the last changes in the format. My test knitters finished the job, and that is basically more of a winter slash warmer garment. So this is my truly first spring summer design that is ready, this pink hoodie that you will see next week. The next yarn, as I said, in no particular order, the next yarn I would like to show you is Summer in Cashmere. This is one of the yarns that I have on stock in multiple colors. This is actually hard to see. I have this in stock, and I see, I believe this was a fingering weight, yes. So I only have this little thing to decide the weight of the yarn, but this seems to me most as a fingering weight yarn. And the reason I chose it for the summer, I wanted something light, so fingering weight yarn is thin enough, but this is 90% cotton and 10% cashmere. On top of that, this is GOTS certified organic, which is great. But as I said, one of the yarns that is really popular and great to wear in the summer is cotton yarn, obviously. But cotton yarns can be a little bit sort of rough and a little bit harsh, or when you knit it up, sort of like too much, too thick maybe, or too rough, or holding the shape too much. But this one has 10% cashmere added to it, and it does two things. It makes the yarn softer for the touch and also a lot drapier. I don't know how much the drape comes in. So I made this swatch, and as you can see, it's fairly light, not see-through, so I'm really happy with it. The recommended needle size for this one was 2.5 to 3.5 millimeter knitting needle, and I decided to go with the 3.5 millimeter knitting needle because, as I said, I wanted drape but no holes, and I thought I'd get that perfectly with a 3.5 millimeter knitting needle. If I used the 2.5, which is, you know, the lowest recommended, then this would be a lot more dense and a lot more stiff, which is not what I wanted for the summer. It would be great if you want something a lot warmer or with a lot more structure, then I would go with 2.5. But I am actually knitting a sleeveless top with this, and I didn't need too much structure for it. And I didn't add anything like cables or anything like that, because that will sort of make the fabric more dense and therefore a little bit more warm. So I'm gonna stick to a pretty simple stockinette design because the main focus of this sleeveless top is actually the design itself, not the cabling or the texture. So I kept the texture simple as stockinette, and the design is, I think, what is the best part of it. I'm not designing with either of these colors. This is just the color that I actually grabbed. But as I said, it maybe I didn't say, it comes in a lot of pastels, a lot of really cool neutral colors, and also like bright colors. So this has a really wide range of color way, and this is color 23, which I can't remember what is it, and this gives you 165 meters for 50 grams. And as I said, I'm designing a sleeveless top using a 3.5 millimeter knitting needle because that gave me the drape I want, and I didn't have to double the yarn, and it's still sort of light enough. You can kind of see a little bit my hand through it, but not enough to be like feeling this is see-through and you need to wear something underneath, because that would actually be the purpose of it. I wanted this to be as light as possible, and since it has cashmere, I don't mind it touching my skin. So this will be, it doesn't have a negative ease, but it has 0 to 2 inches of positive ease as of now. So it is pretty much a tighter top. But I don't mind that because this cotton, because of the cashmere, this cotton is actually not rough, and it's pretty pleasant for the touch, and it's thin enough so I don't feel that it is too warm. And also, since the fabric has these tiny bit of holes, the wind can actually blow through it, which makes it a little bit cooler and nicer. If I use the 2.5 millimeter knitting needle, which is the lower end, the fabric would be more dense. There would be not as many sort of holes or gaps, and therefore the wind couldn't blow through it, so that would be a lot warmer top than this is. Let's see the next one. I spoke about this yarn a lot before. This is the Vegan Cashmere by Kremke Soul Wool. And it is called vegan cashmere, but it is actually 100% cotton yarn. It got the name vegan because it is indeed vegan. For those of you who are interested in vegan yarns, this is one of the 2 vegan yarns available at my shop. And they named it cashmere because its softness. So here is a yarn, cotton and cashmere yarn that has 10% cashmere. This is 100% cotton with 0% cashmere, yet I feel that this is actually softer than the one with the cashmere in it. So that actually says a lot. I love the yarn, and I am designing a romper with this, exactly this colorway. This is color 19, which is not my darkest gray. I think there are 3 gray colors and this is the middle gray color. And I'm designing a romper again. I made a swatch using a 4mm knitting needle, if I remember correctly, and I loved it. This is not as drapey as you can see, but here's for comparison. So this is a lot drapier and a lot softer. This has a lot more structure. It doesn't like flop around as easily as this. But since I'm designing a romper, I wanted something a little bit more structure because it has a pant and I wanted that to have a shape naturally holding. And that would have been impossible with this because this was too drapey. Also, since it has a pants part, or like a shorts part, sorry, shorts to it, I didn't want it to be see-through at all, and not even as much gaps as this one has. So I wanted the knitting a little bit to be tighter, which I achieved with this. And as I said again here, I love the stockinette, so this is gonna be mainly stockinette again, because the main focus of this romper again is the shape and the way it's constructed and the way the buttons are worked, adding anything like color, or more color than one, or I don't know, cables or whatnot. First, it would make the garment more warm, and also it would take away from the simplicity of it, yet the elegance. So I wanted something simple and elegant, and the stockinette stitch with this vegan cashmere yarn is absolutely perfect. It is a little bit warmer, but it's not like hot, hot warm. So I think it is perfect for the purpose. And this is very difficult for me to figure out the weight of this yarn, but as of now I would say this is a DK weight yarn. However, I will actually look at my listings, but I think it's DK weight. Or you could say, yeah, I would say DK weight. Or worsted, a light worsted iron weight. Hard to tell. This is like very close call. It gives you 95 meters for 50 grams. So yeah, I'm not sure. I'm gonna double check and write it right here somewhere on the proper weight of this. Let's see if I put it to worsted iron. Well, it easily could be a worsted iron weight. So I have to write it and confirm which is it. This is a little bit difficult to use. But as I said, this gives me enough structure, and no holes or see-throughness, so perfect for a romper. And the romper will come with a variety of sizes for the top and the bottoms, and you can mix and match them. So it will be good for many different body sizes. That's why this design is taking me a lot longer than I actually thought originally. So this might be the design you see the latest. This is the hardest for me to kind of make sure that it fits a variety of body sizes the same way as it actually will fit me. Which is ultimately my goal, that my pieces fit a variety of body sizes basically the same way as much as possible. So that is coming in this beautiful gray colorway, but not just yet. The next yarn I would like to show you is this beautiful alpaca boucle, super fine. Comes in a beautiful hang that I messed up just to be able to show you. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous, just to be able to show you a little bit of a swatch that I made. So I unraveled a little bit of this. This is color number 1. And I don't have this yarn in my shop. This yarn actually arrived with this pink rescue yarn that I needed to finish my hoodie. And I was interested to see this yarn because I thought that although it is, I think, 89% alpaca and 11% polyamide, so a lot of alpaca for the summer, but since it's a lace yarn, there might be a way to utilize this also for the spring and summer, even in the warmer summer days. So I was thinking about how to do that, and here the recommended needle size was a 4 to 5 millimeter, but when I did that it was still too many holes if I held the yarn single, so I decided to go down to 3.5 millimeter, and that gave me a fabric that is super light, has sort of these holes obviously, but not see-through, so you can actually wear this with just what you must underneath, and you don't have to wear a camisole or anything underneath of it, because that would be the purpose, right? So this is for the summer, and I'm designing a beautiful short sleeve top with it, and I am very happy with the stockinette stitch. The yarn holds single. This is a lace yarn that gives you about 250 meters for 50 grams, so a lot of meters. So I'm holding this single 3.5 millimeter knitting needle, using exactly this colorway. This is a beautiful off-white color, and I just absolutely love the yarn. It's extremely soft, absolutely perfect in terms of the lace weight. I mean, I just like it a lot. And again, since I'm very happy with the stockinette stitch, and the main purpose of the design is the shape of it, I am keeping it stockinette stitch. It's not going to be anything too fancy in it. Knits up really quickly. So I'm hoping that I will put this, actually I'm definitely putting this into my next order. So it should be in my shop, I don't know, 6 to 8 weeks, whenever my order gets here, depending on how long it will take from Europe to arrive. And the only downside of the yarn, I would say, was that it comes only in a handful of colors, I think 10 or so. But the colors are a lot of neutrals-ish and sort of nothing striking. So I believe even if it has only a few colors, many of you will be able to find the color you like, because the colors that they have are relatively sort of easy and neutral, and sort of anyone would like those colors. Um, and what I would like to say that about the yarn, that it's a lace weight yarn. So as you see, if you hold it single and go down a little bit with your needle size, you can use it for a summer garment. If you want to hold it double, then you could do the recommended needle size and have something lightweight but long sleeve for the early fall or the colder spring days, and you could just wear it as is. You don't have to wear anything under. Plus it is super soft, 89% alpaca and 11% polyamide, as I said, but it's a soft one, so I don't think it will bother your skin. So if you hold it double, you can have a long sleeve, nice light long sleeve top with it. And if you hold it with another yarn, let's say a merino, excuse me, a merino, or yeah, like a merino, then you can actually make a beautiful winter garment with it. So this lace yarn has a lot of different hues, and I'm really happy with it. And my top will have some positive ease, because as I said, it's alpaca, so it's on the warmer side. So I wanted something airy, and also a little bit like having enough room on the side, so when the breeze comes, it can come through it, so you don't feel it as warm as if it was sort of copying your body and sort of keeping you super warm. So it touches your body, but since it has enough positive ease and a lot of like gaps, it will be super light and super airy, and the yarn is super light anyways, and airy, so it will be absolutely comfortable for summer and spring as well. And the last yarn that I'm planning short sleeve top with is actually this creme casserole wool morning salutation, which is again a vegan yarn. This is colorway 1, and it is a white, beautiful white color, but this is a very shiny snow white color. Here's my boucle, number 1 in comparison. So this is the boucle is very much off-white, and this is super shiny white color. And this yarn, again, I don't have it in my shop yet, will come in my next order. And it came with the pink rescue yarn. And I wanted to see this yarn because I was thinking, what kind of yarns can I use in the summer? And this vegan morning salutation vegan yarn has 51% lyocell and 49% cotton. And this combination, when I knitted it up, it was super drapey, a little bit heavy-ish, but really like cool against your skin. And it is made of multiple like strands and strings. It has like 6 strings, but best I can say that this is a DK weight yarn. Let's see it. I would say it's a DK weight yarn. Coming in multiple colors, which is great. And I am designing a vest for this for this yarn, and that's why it was important for me that the yarn isn't see-through but light enough. It will not have too much positives, if at all. So it will be against my skin, but I needed something drapey, not see-through, and this was absolutely perfect. So this is drapey enough, not see-through, but light enough and really cool for the touch. As an added plus, this is OECO-TEX Standard 100 verified. And when I read this little sort of piece that came with the yarn, this little like tag, it said that the lyocell makes the yarn more absorbent than silk and has good cooling properties. And all I can say is that it does really feel cool and colder. So whether or not it has cooling properties, I don't know yet because I haven't worn the garment. But this will be ready fairly soon, and I will show you, and I will actually wear it to see whether or not it does really feel cool or cold. Again, stockinette stitch design because I really like it. And the recommended needle size was 3 to 4 millimeters, and I went with a 3.5. And I was happy with it. I didn't want to go 4, as I said, I didn't want this to be see-through. And on top of that, as I said, I'm not designing this with much, if at all, positive ease. So it will be a little bit more stretched, and I didn't want the holes to be visible. So that's why I went with a 3.5 millimeter knitting needle, and I really liked it. And again, this vest is gonna be relatively simple, and the shape is the main purpose. That's why it is made with a stockinette stitch. You could call this sleeveless or whatnot, but it is actually, I'm gonna call it a vest in the end. One thing I noticed when I worked with this yarn, and that's why I will show you the knitting needles I'm using, is that the yarn splits fairly easily. I guess that's why it's so airy, light, and cold, because it's like split easily. The wind and the air goes through it relatively easily, which can be maybe difficult to work with, but I say it's worth it. I mean, I had to get used to it a little bit when I was knitting this sample up. I think this is one of the splittiest yarns that I have, but here you see no mistakes. But even I had like, oh, the yarn is about to split when I was slipping the stitches through. So I just had to pay a little bit more attention. So it might not be the most mindless stockinette knit that you will ever have. But I say it was sort of worth it because it feels a lot colder. And what I realized that the knitting needle is actually important, especially when you're working with a yarn that is easily splitting. And I can only recommend something similar to mine, so I will show you what I use. I'm using PPY's, which is the Fielder's Birchwood knitting needle set, and it comes in a pouch like this that has knitting needles made from birchwood from 3.5 to 8 millimeters, a couple of knitting cables, knitting cables, and I added a Ziploc bag with my little things like stitch markers and so on because it would have fallen out. So I'm not loving the pouch for that reason. I'm gonna transfer my needles once I find out where I wanna put it, but I absolutely love the knitting needles. And why I'm mentioning this is because these knitting needles are perfect if you have yarns that are sort of splitting, because the birchwood is actually sort of soft. I also have like a cool touch, a weird cool touch, I can't explain that, but it has a coating that makes it slippery enough. And it has super pointy ends that makes the yarn, so the stitch easy to be, pick it up, easy to pick up the stitch, sorry. So I found it that it was relatively easy to work this yarn that splits so easily with this birchwood needle after I realized just to pay attention a little bit. If you use other wooden needles, the problem can be that wooden needles can be a little bit rough. And if those rough sort of edges get caught in this, then they can pull it and split the yarn easily. Or if you have metal knitting needles, they can be super slippery, easier to lose a stitch, and when a stitch like this goes down, that can be a nightmare to actually pick it up. So I think this was a perfect combination of working with this needle easy enough, but not too easy so I lose a stitch, if that makes sense. And since it's slippery and pointy enough, it was easy to sort of insert it into the stitch. So I'm not saying get this knitting needle set, but think about maybe the knitting needle if you have a yarn that is so splitting, and maybe go for something like a birchwood or a slippery wood as opposed to metal needles. Even if you prefer metal needles, it's much easier to work splitting yarns like this one with a wooden knitting needle that has a nice coating. I obviously have a few of these available at my shop if you're interested to check out all the details. But as I said, birchwood needles would do great as long as the surface is not rough. So make sure that the surface is nicely worked and smooth. And today I have 2 more yarns and to show you for the cooler sort of summer days or the warmer spring days, if you will. So I'm also designing 2 more sort of long sleeve tops. If you remember, I have the pink hoodie from the silk alpaca combo that is a long sleeve, and I'm designing 2 more long sleeves for 2 different reasons and purposes. But I picked yarns that are warm yet light, so I can just throw this on when the weather changes. I can carry them on and roll these up into a tiny little ball in my bag if I need to. Because if you go out in the evening, the weather can change even very quickly in the summer. The wind can pick up, so there is nice to have something long sleeve from a lightweight yarn created that you can just put on even in warmer days. Technically warmer days, but in the warmer day when you need something cold because you're cold a little bit. So what I picked was the Fill Cozy yarn. This is the Glacier colorway, and this is exactly the colorway that I'm working with. It's a beautiful blue color with these, I don't know, pink, orange, and I don't know, darker speckles or tweed-like pieces in it. And I'm designing a long sleeve top, but the top actually gonna also have a short sleeve version. So this is more like on a heavier side for a short sleeve and a lighter side for a long sleeve, if that makes sense. And as I said, I'm working with this colorway. This yarn is made 33% acrylic, 11% wool, 17% polyamide, 6% cotton, 2% polyester, and 1% elastane, if I pronounce that correctly. It comes in 25-gram balls, and it gives you about 137.5 meters or 150 yards for that. And I think I qualify this one as a lace weight yarn, but let's see. this is very difficult to again say because the filter company does not classify their yarn by weight, but I don't know, it's close for me as a lace weight or a very super light fingering weight. The recommended needle size is 4 millimeter, and that is what I used for this sample. And again, I was very happy with the stockinette stitch. There's absolutely no sort of see-throughness, but the garment is relatively light, super soft, so even if it touches against your skin, you don't need to wear anything under. At least me, I don't have to. I can wear this easily against my skin. Actually, all of these yarns that I showed you today, I can wear it easily against my skin because they have really nice feel. Again, as I said, I'm sticking to stockinette because again, for this piece, the main part of the design is the shape that I really like. It's relatively simple, but very elegant. And as I said, I'm using this colorway. The yarn comes with a few other colors. It doesn't have too many colors. I think it's less than 10. But they are all these really interesting colors. You will find a couple of neutrals there and a few sort of colors like this glacier blue that are sort of muted colors. But all will have these little speckles, more or less visible depending on which color you choose. So it has this very interesting tweed-like quality. And the last for sorry, my waist. The last yarn for today is the Philadelphia Bonbon, which is 38% acrylic, 34% cotton, Egyptian cotton, and 28% polyamide. And again, it's super soft. This is a blown yarn that is extremely lightweight. And this yarn is actually the warmest of all the yarns, at least if you hold them all single. This is the warmest yarn of all, and this is just really for the colder nights when the weather changes suddenly, maybe toward the end of the summer, or actually for the spring, if you will. Also perfect for the fall. This will keep you warm, so I'm not suggesting to use this yarn in any form or shape in the blazing sun, 90 degrees, short sleeve or not, or sleeveless, because this is actually warm. This is really for the colder parts or colder evenings or colder windy, rainy days. And as I said, this is a blown yarn, one of the softest yarns. Actually, from all the yarns I showed you, this is indeed, yeah, this is the softest of all the yarns that I showed you today. It comes in about 6 to 8 colors. I will pop some on the screen because the colors are super springy, which I'm very happy about. I'm loving the yellow, and I think I'm gonna make my first sample in yellow. This will be a long sleeve top. Again, not gonna have too intricate stitch designs. The main part of this top is actually the way the sleeve is constructed. I'm really loving it so far. Hopefully you'll see it within a month or so and have a test knit call for this as well. But as I said, you may want to have something for the summer days that are colder, or for the spring days that are cooler and colder. And this is a top that I'm designing with some positive ease, so you can wear something under if you want, but also very pleasant for the touch, so you don't necessarily have to. So obviously, if you wear something under, then this is actually a warmer one. If you don't wear anything under, you just throw this on a windy, rainy day that is a bit colder. It's still perfect. And the sleeve, you can actually sort of push up your sleeve, so once it gets a little bit warmer, that will be fine as well. But you want to think about colder summer days and see if you want to actually have a light top created from a warmer yarn, if you will. Then any of these two yarns are actually really perfect for two different reasons. I guess that's it for today, and I see you next week. Thank you.